this point last year, spring planting was underway and Nebraska soil temperatures were in the 50s. This season is noticeably different, and as Lowell Sandell said when we talked at UNL's Havelock Farm on the northeast corner of Lincoln, delayed planting may make exceptional treatment tricky.
Weeds-wise, it's been pretty cold this year, but surprisingly, the winter annuals are really coming along. If folks get out in their fields and look, henbit and pennycress and shepherd's purse are all flowering right now. We really encourage folks to get out with burn down applications as soon as we can, but be sure to watch the temperature a little bit. If they're really relying on glyphosate for the burn down control, we don't want to go when it's too cold with glyphosate.
Because?
You can lose some efficacy, especially if the nighttime temperatures are really dropping below 50 out there.
Why is it so important to get a great burn down before you start planting? What does the research show?
Well, research here at Havelock and out at the Scal Research Farm have shown pretty substantial yield loss, up to 10%. In some cases, by not controlling winter annual weeds by at least 2 weeks prior to planting, and that's going to be a little tough this year because we're kind of delayed with the cool temperatures.
I know last year when we talked, I think it was mid-March, you were already seeing an emergence of some summer annuals. Anything on the front there yet?
Yeah, so we have worked with glyphosate-resistant giant ragweed and glyphosate-resistant kochia in Nebraska here the last couple of years, and in some of our research plots and talking to some folks out in the state, kochia and ragweed, even though it's been cold, is up and germinating and growing right now. So folks that have dealt with those weeds in the last couple of years, they're really going to want to concentrate on getting an effective burn down that probably includes 2,4-D in that burn down to get good control.
Give me an idea, last year was such a unique year, give me an idea of what caused the trouble last year, or at least the biggest trouble last year.
Well, dry conditions were tough, and in a lot of cases it was difficult to tell if we were maybe dealing with some resistance with post-emergence applications or if it was due to very difficult dry conditions out there. So, but going into 2013 here, it's even though we've gotten a little rain here, it is still kind of dry. And doing anything that we can to maximize pre-emergence performance. If in irrigated situations it's not quite as big a deal, hopefully we'll continue to get a little rain in the dry land situations. We'll get good activation of pre-emergence herbicides this year.
You mentioned a little bit on winter annual control, but what are the recommendations overall, both winter and summer?
Yeah, so, we've talked about this quite a bit, development of glyphosate-resistant water hemp, kochia, and giant ragweed. And it's really going to be important over the next few years for producers to basically embrace a more diversified herbicide management program to effectively manage those weeds out there, and going out with a good pre-emergence herbicide and using more of the full rate. Folks have become accustomed to maybe using lower rates or what has been called the Roundup Ready rate out there. Reading those labels and getting a full rate to give you good residual control, and then following that up with multiple modes of action post-emergence is going to be really the most effective way to manage resistance going forward.
We were talking beforehand and you mentioned that some of the research you did surrounding 2,4-D was that if you didn't get the right amounts, it wasn't as efficient.
Yeah, particularly on the giant ragweed, and this kind of applies to glyphosate-resistant mare's tail as well. But on the ragweed plots, if we didn't have 2,4-D in the burn down or as a component of the burn down prior to planting soybeans, we really struggled with giant ragweed control for the rest of the year. And for successful control of ragweed, and I think mare's tail as well, having 2,4-D as a component of that burn down, I think is going to be really critical for success here in 2013.